Remember back to when Star Wars Episode 3 came out? There was so much buildup and anticipation ever since the announcement of the prequel trilogy. Imagine 3 movies that actually tell you the story of how Anakin Skywalker became the biggest baddie of the galaxy, Darth Vader. But considering what Episodes 1 and 2 were offering in terms of performance,
why couldn't I save her? I know I could have. I will be the most powerful Jedi ever. I promise you.
You can say audiences were less than satisfied. But you can't deny people were anxiously waiting to see the transformation to Darth Vader, and people left with mostly satisfaction. I mean, I could certainly say for myself that it's the best of the prequel trilogy, and people were more favorable about this one than they were towards Episodes 1 and 2, understandably. Either way, Revenge of the Sith stands out to many people as not only being a favorable prequel in the Star Wars universe, but also quite possibly the darkest of all Star Wars films. Revenge was in fact the first Star Wars film ever to be rated PG-13, and sure, the sequel trilogy shares the same rating, but I feel as though Revenge truly exploits how dark you can go with a PG-13 rating. I remember back in the day when I first saw this movie, my dad had to give me a warning for some serious dark sequences, and yeah, looking back, still really dark. And with a film like this, it eventually got translated to video games. Now, the first 2 prequel films did have their own game adaptations, but they had their fair share of decent to bad reviews. But this game's potential was strong, considering at the time of its release, we were living in a golden age of Star Wars video games. So maybe looking back, it has a better shot than other movie licensed games, so let's check it out. Okay, let's get some good things going on here. First off, the likenesses of Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor are decently done here, as well as them both being voiced by Matt Lucas and James Arnold Taylor, who supplied the voices for their characters in the original Tartakovsky Clone Wars series, as well as Taylor continuing on in the 3D animated series. And much like Obi-Wan in the prequels, he always has something witty to say to close a scene.
There's no time to argue, go! Next time we're taking the stairs.
Don't worry, Master.
I'm not worried.
This will be no problem.
Did I say I was worried? All right. Now I'm worried.
But how does the gameplay fare out? Well, it varies. You switch between Obi-Wan and Anakin as levels change as you both fight with a lightsaber, which can be satisfying to kill droids, clones, and what have you. But often boils down to a lot of button mashing unless you can master the combos. Since I'm playing on the Xbox, you can do combos with the X, Y, and B button, and since you'll mostly be fighting against blasters, you can hold the L trigger to deflect and block most of oncoming attacks. You'll constantly be under fire, so if you're like me, you're going to want to hold the L trigger throughout the whole game. And after doing so, my index finger was numb for hours after I put down the controller, not even kidding. With the X and Y buttons, you can alternate the strength of your attacks, whether you want to hit several light taps or fewer but heavy blows. And also, what would a Jedi be without force powers? You can use the force to throw enemies, force jump, force heal, force lightning for Anakin near the end of the game, and even a saber throw like a boomerang. And that's all determined by the force bar, which can be replenished just by waiting.
The negotiations were short.
And as an added bonus, you can receive experience points determined by how many successful hits you land, in which you can use to upgrade your abilities. And when you make a lot of successful hits consecutively, your saber will upgrade to a super saber for about 30 seconds to do double the damage. So yeah, the basic control system of the game is pretty damn good. As for actually playing the game, it's alright, could be better though. One of the more aggravating things about the game is that you're fighting in what feels like such a confined area. Sometimes they put too many enemies on screen, so you'll get constantly blasted or hit too many times before you can counterattack, especially when fighting General Grievous. I'm sure he has a pattern or something, but I can only block so many times before he actually has an opening, and it just seems really tedious, especially since the person you're fighting with or against keeps you from reaching certain parts of the stage. It can get really annoying. And even worse in the earlier stages, you're surrounded by ray shields, and most of the droids you're fighting can get pushed behind them and not move at all for some reason. Sometimes they shoot behind the ray walls, and oftentimes they do nothing but stand there. And you can't reach them or deflect their blasters at them with your lightsabers when you're stuck behind them. It's almost as if you're fighting with a robot. Oh wait. Occasionally, some turrets will appear from the ceiling, and destroyers which you can use to block and destroy by using a force shield with your lightsaber, but it usually takes up about half your force power, and sometimes they only shoot when they want. Remember back in The Incredibles Rise of the Underminer review when I said the guy playing Samuel L. Jackson sounds nothing like him?
Who is this guy?
Well, thankfully, for what little we see Mace Windu here, he sounds a little better.
He's manipulating you, making you betray the Jedi Order. Can't you see that?
And just like L. Jackson getting a purple lightsaber because he wanted one, they give him the best line in the game.
Come here. There's something I want to show you.
Motherfucker.
This game's greatest flaw by far is that it's a poor adaptation of the movie. The game has film clips from the movie, but a lot of the ones they show are either stripped too short or cut off for some of the more serious aspects of the film. Let me give you some examples. In the opening of the film, Anakin cuts off Count Dooku's hands and has a choice to either let him live or kill him. The Chancellor encouraging him to do so leads Anakin deeper down the path of the dark side and regrets it immediately.
Yes, but he was an unarmed prisoner. I shouldn't have done that. It's not the Jedi way.
But in the game cutscene, he just impales Dooku without a second thought. No emotional weight or nothing. Another dark scene in the film was the death of Mace Windu. In the film, Mace Windu was making a bold choice in killing Darth Sidious to end the Sith, and in a quick defense, Anakin cuts off his hand, and Sidious electrocutes him with Force lightning and throws him out the window. Not lying when I said that scene used to scare me as a child, and even now I get chills. But here, Anakin kills him in cold blood. And on top of that, when Obi-Wan cuts off Anakin's legs and leaves him to die, there's an emotional struggle for Obi-Wan to accept the fact that the boy he raised and loved as a brother has failed and turned to the dark side.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
Not to mention watching him burn alive. But in the game, he cuts off his legs, says nothing, walks away, and then suddenly, oh look, he's Darth Vader now, no transition. Oh, and well, would you look at that, Obi-Wan giving Aunt Beru and baby Luke, a child we never saw getting born. And you wanna know what the strangest part is? This game was released 2 whole weeks before the premiere of the movie. Imagine buying this game, going home to play it, beat it within a span of 3 hours, and watch these cutscenes being completely thrown off by the lack of story that the game fails to adapt. It almost feels like the movie is an adaptation of the game at this point. Am I thinking too hard about this?
Oh, I don't think so.
Also, is it just me, or am I hearing a lot of repeated sound bites throughout other video games?
Just what I needed. Just what I need.
Just what I needed.
Hey, that's twice now I've referenced the Incredibles game in this video. What's my life coming to?
I gotta get in shape.
But if you suck at video games like me, and you're constantly dying, don't worry, this game has cheat codes. And throughout all 16 levels of this game, you might feel the need to use 1 or 2 to spice up the gameplay a bit. Whether it's unlimited health, unlimited super saber, what have you. And once you've beaten all 16 levels, you get... Wait, level 17? What else is there? Oh, okay, you're just playing the same final battle, but except from Anakin's perspective. What good will that do? We all know he loses.
What the fuck?!
When did that ever happen? Wait, what's happening now?
What the fuck?!
I completely forgot about this part of the game, so you guys need some context. So once you beat the final battle as Obi-Wan fighting Anakin on Mustafar, you unlock a bonus level in which the roles are switched, where you play Anakin fighting Obi-Wan, and when you beat the level, it has an alternate ending in which Anakin kills Obi-Wan and the Emperor.
Ha! You'll never stop us! Hey, you stopped me.
Oh yeah, something else I forgot to mention, on top of a lot of things, just like the movie, the kill count is high. There's at least 2 whole levels where Anakin slaughters several Jedi and Padawans. In fact, probably more kills than the movie showed us. Order 66 has nothing on this Anakin man. Most of them are just basic Jedi, but also smaller characters like Sindralig, Saraketo, or even Jocasta Nu, the character you never saw after episode 2. The game shows you Anakin killing her without hesitation. So, let's check off the list for those keeping track. In this game, and only in the game, Anakin kills Saraketo, Sindralig, Jocasta Nu,
Holy shit!
his old master Obi-Wan, whilst also kicking his body down to the lava,
Holy shit!
and getting his new lightsaber and using it to kill the Emperor.
Holy shit!
Hey, Kylo Ren, Rey was right. You'll never be as strong as Darth Vader. Not with this crazy shit. Okay. Calm down. Okay, calm down. Start wrapping it up and be done with it. Okay, and you know something? If this single player mode isn't for you, you better try the multiplayer stages. Whether you beat the game or use cheat codes, you can unlock lightsaber duelists from the game and play 2-player mode against your friends or the CPU. And believe it or not, it's actually really fun. In fact, it's a lot more fun than the Star Wars game that was supposed to be a fighting game, Masters of Terras Kasai or some bullshit name. It really is a lot of fun and feels like you're playing Soul Calibur with lightsabers. You know, before Soul Calibur did that! In my opinion, hands down, the best 2-player fight is actually a duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader from Episode 4, and it could not be better without Obi-Wan dropping the sickest burn in all of Star Wars.
I should have left you on Tatooine.
Okay, after a long deep breath over one of the craziest climaxes in any movie-based game I've ever seen, how does this game fare out? Well, it's a basic movie-based game, but I don't think it's anywhere near bad, but just clunky at times with the CPU and such. If anything, this game stands out from most movie-based games just for the sheer differences from the film that make it so superbly unlike most of the genre. Would I recommend it for the single player? Well, sure. Would I recommend it for the 2-player? Absolutely. You got a good hour's worth of fun for sure. I know I did when I was a kid. Is it one of the best Star Wars games out there? Well, that's a bit of a stretch considering there's a bunch of other high-ranking Star Wars games out there like the original Battlefront series, Knights of the Old Republic, and even now just released Jedi Fallen Order, which is just Uncharted with lightsabers, but I have no problem with that. It's a pretty basic adaptation of the movie, but worth checking out for how insane the game gets the more you progress. Not the best Star Wars game, but certainly not the worst. So check it out and see for yourself.
Another happy landing.